Chapter 1. The perfect beginning. Dempsy had never considered himself sentimental, but as he leaned against the kitchen counter watching Madison hum along to a playlist while chopping vegetables, he felt something close to it. 3 years together, and life had settled into a rhythm that felt right. Comfortable, but not boring. Predictable, but not stale. He liked that. He liked her. He liked them. Do you ever think about how weird it is? Carter asked, arms crossed. 3 years ago, I didn't even know you existed. Now, you're planning a wedding menu. Madison glanced up, dark hair falling over one shoulder as she grinned. Weird? Or fate? Fate's a strong word, Carter teased. Sounds like something you'd say after binge-watching rom-coms. Excuse me, rom-coms are educational, Madison said, pointing the knife at him like a professor. They teach you what not to do. Like, don't propose in a stadium unless you're absolutely sure she'll say yes. Carter smirked. Noted. Good thing I went with the rooftop and champagne. Her smile softened, and for a moment, Carter felt that familiar warmth, the one that convinced him to buy the ring in the first place. This was it. This was the life he wanted. Later, curled up on the couch, Madison's phone buzzed with a name Carter didn't recognize. Who's that? He asked casually. Just an old friend, Madison said quickly. From college. She's moving to town. Carter nodded, forcing a smile. Sounds good. Madison grinned. You'll like her. Carter hoped so. For now, he believed her. Chapter 2. The reunion. The bar was loud, crowded, and smelled faintly of citrus and ambition. Carter spotted Lila immediately, tall, confident, with a smile that could light up a room. She hugged Madison like they'd been apart for decades, then turned to Carter with a grin that was all teeth. So, Carter, Lila said, sliding into the booth. What do you do? I'm in finance, Carter replied. Numbers, spreadsheets, the thrilling stuff. Sounds stable, Lila said, her tone dripping with something Carter couldn't place. Madison always said she'd end up with someone exciting. Madison laughed. Stable is good. Sure, Lila smirked. Until it's boring. Carter raised an eyebrow. I like to think I'm more than my job. Of course, Lila said lightly. But life's short. You gotta live a little. Madison shot Carter a look, half amused, half warning. Play nice. I am, Carter said, smiling tightly. Just making conversation. Later that night, back at the apartment, Carter loosened his tie. Madison was glowing, scrolling through her phone. You two seemed close, Carter said carefully. She's my friend, Madison replied. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Carter said quickly. Just, you were laughing a lot. Is that a crime now? Madison snapped, then softened. Sorry, I just missed her. I get that, Carter said. I just hope this doesn't turn into what? Madison challenged. Into you forgetting we're planning a wedding, Carter said calmly. Madison stared at him, then sighed. You're overthinking. Maybe, Carter said quietly. But when something feels off, it usually is. Chapter 3. Cracks in the glass. Carter woke up to an empty bed. Again, the clock read 1:17 a.m. Madison's side was cold. He checked his phone, no texts, no calls. When the door clicked open at 1:32, Madison slipped inside, heels dangling, hair tousled. She froze when she saw him on the couch. You're still up? She asked. Couldn't sleep, Carter said evenly. You were out late. Madison shrugged. We lost track of time. Lost track or didn't care. The words slipped out before he could stop them. Madison's head snapped up. What's that supposed to mean? Like you're somewhere else, Carter said softly. Even when you're here. Madison stared at him, then shook her head. You're imagining things. Maybe, Carter said. But what I'm not imagining is you sneaking in at 1:30 in the morning like this is normal. Madison walked past him without another word, leaving Carter alone with the silence. Chapter 4. The Catalyst. Lila's POV. Lila loved the way Madison's face lit up when she walked into the bar. It was like flipping a switch. One moment, Madison was the polished fiancée. The next, she was the girl Lila remembered from college, wild and laughing. So, Lila said, swirling her drink. How's life as a soon-to-be Mrs. Dempsey? Madison rolled her eyes. Stressful. Guest lists, seating charts. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. Sounds suffocating, Lila said lightly. You used to hate rules. Madison laughed softly. I still do. Then why marry a guy who probably color codes his sock drawer? Lila teased. Madison smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Carter's, good for me. Good isn't the same as exciting, Lila said, leaning in. You deserve fireworks. Madison didn't answer. She just stared at her drink, and Lila felt the shift, the crack in the armor. Carter's POV, when Madison texted out with Lila. Don't wait up, Carter felt something inside him snap. He wanted to trust her. God, he wanted to. But trust felt like a gamble these days, and Carter wasn't a betting man. At 3:47 a.m., Madison walked in laughing softly, phone in hand. She froze when she saw him. You're still up? She asked. Couldn't sleep, Carter said. You were out late, again. Madison shrugged. We lost track of time. With Lila? Carter asked. Obviously, Madison said, rolling her eyes. Why are you acting like this? Like a guy who's starting to wonder if his fiancée even wants to be here? Carter said calmly. Madison's jaw tightened. That's not fair. Neither is feeling like I'm competing with someone who wasn't even in the picture 3 months ago, Carter said. Madison stared at him, guilt flickering before anger masked it. You're being paranoid. Maybe, Carter said. But paranoia, it usually starts with a reason. Chapter 5. The dawn that changed everything. The clock read 5:58 a.m. when Carter heard the key turn. Madison stepped inside, hair messy, makeup smudged. She froze when she saw him. "You're still up?" Her voice cracked. "Where were you?" Carter asked, calm, too calm. "We went dancing. Then breakfast." "I didn't realize." 6 a.m., Madison. Carter's tone was quiet, but sharp. "You didn't realize?" Madison set her clutch down, guilt flashing. "I'm sorry. I should have texted." "You should have done a lot of things," Carter said, standing. "Like remember you're engaged." Madison flinched. "Carter, no," he said, holding up a hand. "Don't. I'm done waiting for you to come home. Done pretending this is normal." Her eyes widened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I don't recognize you anymore," Carter said steadily. "And I'm not marrying someone I don't trust." Madison's breath hitched. "You think I cheated?" "I don't have proof," Carter said. "But if I had to bet everything I own, I'd put it all on yes. And what I won't do, what I can't do, is bet my future on you." He slipped the ring from her finger. No loud breakup. No drama. Just goodbye. Madison stared in shock as Carter walked out, the weight of 3 years collapsing behind him. Lila's POV. Hours earlier, at dawn, Madison had leaned her head on Lila's shoulder and whispered, "I don't know who I am anymore." Lila smiled softly. "You're the girl who doesn't settle." And that was enough. Epilogue. After the storm, Carter, 3 months later, Carter sat on the balcony of his new apartment, coffee in hand, city stretching out beneath him. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but maybe that was the point. Plans break. Freedom doesn't. He thought about Madison sometimes, not with anger, not even sadness. Just clarity. She'd shown him who she was, and he'd listened. His phone buzzed. "Happy hour tonight?" Carter smiled. Maybe he'd go. Maybe he wouldn't. For the first time in years, the choice was his. He whispered to himself, "Here's to living." Madison sat in her old apartment, staring at the untouched wedding binder. The ring was gone. The laughter was gone. And Lila had drifted away, chasing another thrill in another city. Madison scrolled through photos of nights that felt electric, but now looked hollow. She wanted to call Carter. To explain. To apologize. But what would she say? That she'd gambled everything for excitement and lost. She closed the binder and pushed it aside. Silence wasn't freedom, it was loneliness. And it was hers to carry. Closing line. Some endings aren't loud. They're quiet, like the space between heartbeats. Carter walked away without slamming the door, and Madison stayed behind without chasing him. 2 lives, 2 choices, 2 futures, separate now, but still moving forward. And somewhere on a balcony overlooking the city, Carter smiled at the sunrise, ready for whatever came next.